Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing? My name is Maribel Feliciano. I'm the Assistant Director with the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. I want to welcome you to the Kauffman NewVenture information session. This meeting is going to be recorded. Just want to make sure everybody's aware. At the end of the information session, you'll have the opportunity to ask us questions. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So today you're going to hear from our director on the Kauffman NewVenture Program. What is the program? A little bit of history about the program. Basically an overview of what are you going to experience? What are you going to go, what do you have to do to apply? But also, if you get accepted into the program, what is it that you're going to learn about, how the program is formatted, the dates, your time commitments, and a lot more. We have a video that we want to share with you of our cohort from last year. We had a very successful program and our graduates, so I'm going to see if this video is going to work. Give me just 1 second. So that was our 2024 cohort, and basically that part of the graduation you saw there. And in addition to that, you saw the 3 winners, and you're going to learn today about that. What is it? What is the format of the program? And what is it that you need to do if you get accepted into the program? And once you go towards the graduation and the pitch competition, if you get selected for the pitch competition, exactly what you're going to be able to win. You're going to be able to win some seed dollars. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our director, Sandy Michael McDonald, who's going to share with you a lot more information about our Kauffman NewVenture Program. Sandy.
Thank you, Maribel. Good evening. Let me see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, so if everyone filled out the application, it would only be one person who wouldn't make it because it's like 21 of you here. So this program and everything our office does is aligned and set up by the Broward County Board of County Commissioners. We're the economic opportunity, so we try to do everything to assure that entrepreneurs, businesses, small businesses alike get to participate in all the things that the county does. Broward County Board of County Commissioners, those are our primary, what I would call champions. And oops, they will get in trouble. They took out the biggest cheerleader, and that would have been the county administrator. So this is our office. These are the different things that we actually do. These are the focuses that we put with the county agencies and with community partners, and for our small business program, which is the biggest anchor in our office. We try to make sure at least 25% of everything the county buys, and we buy a lot. We don't buy everything. We try to make sure at least 25% of what we buy from locally certified small businesses. So if you are a business as an entrepreneur, if you end up starting a business, and if you end up providing a good material, service, or product that the county buys, you also want to take a peek at our small business program to see if it's something that you might have interest in. About Kauffman, and I won't read all of this. I got here in 2013. Technically, we got started around 2013 with the half-day workshops, and then we moved forward and started doing this 10-week course that we've made an 11-week course. But the whole objective is the county had decided right before the year before I got here, we wanted to do more to support and or start entrepreneurship in Broward County. Now, there's multiple entrepreneurship programs across the country, and there's just as many online. Kauffman is the one, for the most part, that we believe, based on the 2 half-day courses and this 10-week course that we've made 11, is the one that we believe fits Broward's best. Again, we're not saying it's the best thing since sliced bread, but it is the one that we believe is best for how we like to introduce startup businesses, because it's one thing to start a business. It's another thing to sustain a business. It's a collaboration of starting a sustainable business, which is what we want to do. Kauffman International says that South Florida, including Broward, we're in the top 3 in the country with startup businesses. That's great news. But Kauffman turns right around and tells us South Florida, including Broward, you're in the top 2 of small businesses going out of business within the first 4 years. So that's not cool. So as much as I love going to ribbon cuttings, I'm more excited about small businesses inviting me to their 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 10th year anniversary. So we use Kauffman because we believe that the methodology and the process really does help us with the potential entrepreneur to start a sustainable business. Because even as a part of the launch, you don't have to launch until you're ready. And another part of what I'm going to end up showing you or speaking to you about today, whereas some people believe that this 10-week, that I'm saying it the right way, that we've expanded to 11 is their best opportunity, it might not be. Remember, this is about entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, who want to understand all the phases to launch a business. And it's also about businesses up to 3 years old who may have not taken all the necessary steps, who want to backtrack a little to make sure that they can get on track. But with that, some of you, based on ideas, based on concept, based on information and data already collected, it might not be about the 11 weeks. It could simply be, maybe I need to do the listening to my business if I'm 2 or 3 years old to find out what steps I've missed and what I really need to do to go forward, and I don't need 11 weeks. Or maybe as that aspiring entrepreneur, even though this is going to be a substantive, structured 10 weeks that's expanded to 11, there's the potential that maybe I just needed a half-day course that was the intentional entrepreneur. Because I really needed to find out, do I have all of my steps together to become an intentional entrepreneur? Or do I just need to remain as an accidental entrepreneur? Or do I need to recognize that I could align some of both of them, and with the consultation at our office, keep it going? So I'm not saying that to distract someone or discourage someone from deciding if this is where they want to be, but I am saying that to make sure that we're serious, as you heard me say earlier, not about starting no business. We're serious about helping someone to start a sustainable business. And to do so, that means someone has to be kind enough with you to challenge and ask you the right questions. Someone has to be kind and professional enough with you to push back and make sure that that idea that you say you have, it fits into what we know and understand gives you the best opportunity to be successful. Someone has to decide, minus your best friend and your family, that they're going to be willing to tell you the truth about that which you're saying and which you believe. Because at the end of the day, it's 2 things that can cost you. It can cost you time, which is sweat equity, that's you into the game, and it can cost you money. Now, you can get your money back, but guys and girls, you're never getting your time back. So we don't want to waste your time at all. That's why we share information. And tonight is really about an orientation. It's about explaining the Kauffman NewVenture Fast Track Program. It's about telling you a little bit about the eligibilities and the criteria. It's about what I just got through saying earlier. Is one thing about a 10-week course that's going to be 11 weeks versus 2 half-day courses, which are 3 hours each, versus your consultation, which can be up to 90 minutes. But the ideal of exploring entrepreneurship, identifying meeting markets, setting goals, planning and product services, these are the things that if you're selected, Maribel did mention, it's a competitive process. I think last year, Darla, correct me if you're wrong, he ended up with about 120-something applications for us to end up with 20. We're going to end up deciding on 20 applicants to go through what's going to be a rigorous program. It's probably going to be explained in some of the future slides, but the intent will be you will commit to 11 weeks, 3 hours each session, and about 5 hours each week outside that class. But your upside is, if you go through all of it, bare minimum, and I do say bare minimum, you'll end up with a business plan. So at the end of the day, your hard work, your commitment going through 11 weeks, including learning how to pitch and dealing with your pitch. Oh, so y'all hear me? Oh, that must be for the recording. Oh, well then the recording folks just missed all that good info. They'll be all right. So the idea is that it really is about a commitment. See, this is the one that I tell folks, you got to go home, check with your spouse, check with the kids, check with the cat or the dog, make sure that you can set aside 3 hours every Wednesday, a couple of breaks in there because of holidays or something, but it's going to be 11 weeks when it's all said and done, and you have to attend all the courses. See, I know somewhere they're going to read that you might can miss one, but see, I just said out of my mouth, you got to attend all the courses. You're going to have to be committed because at the end of the day, for what we're offering that you pay nothing, is this opportunity to substantively and substantially start your business in a successful manner. So again, those are more pictures of the cohort, the last group that we did last year, the primary winner. I think there's going to be information shared about, we try to offer seed dollar support in the amount of $10,000, $7,500, and $5,000 for the individuals who at the end of the course, who is excited about their business plan, and they decide, hey, I want to submit my business plan for a pitch competition. So as many as you who want to, you have the right to do that, but that's just one of the ways to incentivize it, is that whoever does that, we want to end up with 3 winners that night, $10,000, $7,500, and $5,000. So again, 11 Wednesday evening sessions. What else I need to say within there? Seed money we just talked about, graduate day and pitch competition, certificate of completion, access to a growing local community of entrepreneurs, and that's the other key. We're not trying to leave you on your own. So first of all, as a part of the cohort, I already said there's going to be 20 of you. The class and the facilitation is set up for you to meet each other, to learn from each other. You're going to have 2 facets of every class. There'll be curriculum, and then there's going to be a practicum. They're going to always bring in an industry expert, no matter what we're talking about that night, legal, advertising, marketing, whatever we're talking about. Me, my staff, we're going to facilitate the Kauffman curriculum to make sure you understand the expectation of that area of preparing your business to launch. But instead of just books, we're going to bring in an industry expert. So someone can either contradict, add to, or decide that there's a little twist to what we're teaching you curriculum, that as a business you need to understand that it might have even more real components. See, that's that thing we talk about when I talk about intentional entrepreneur, accidental entrepreneur. And we tell folks, yep, it sounds good that you want to work for yourself, you don't want to work for nobody no more, you want to sign the front of the checks, no longer the back of the checks, all that makes sense. But for an entrepreneur, we also bring it back to reality. Don't work, don't eat. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're not working, you're not eating. Because if you're not working, you're not making no money. So maybe you do need to keep that job. Or maybe you need to understand the difference between accidental and intentional entrepreneur. And the accidental for so many entrepreneurs is that I got a day job because life is lifing. But I got this thing I got passion about. So in the evenings and the weekends and off seasons, I really do grow that. That's fine. That's an accidental entrepreneur. And that works until you can potentially transition one day into an intentional, which means I do so well, my numbers and my markets are so good, I'm letting the day job go because I now can fulfill it with the hours and the sweat equity and meet those obligations, if not more, by being an intentional entrepreneur. Those are business decisions that you guys got to make. But it's our job to make sure that you realize that there are decisions you can make. No one says that even at the conclusion of this program, you got to drop your day job. You might just need to understand how you're going to do both. And if you're serious about becoming an intentional entrepreneur one day, what's the pathway that eventually would get you there? What's the timelines that'll get you there? And we always got to talk about timelines because we know ourselves. If we don't put it to a schedule, you wake up 15 years later, still thinking about doing what you said you wanted to do, 15 years ago. Session format, as explained, entrepreneurs exchange, learning activities and instruction, subject matter experts, network break, whole bunch of Q&A. And the thing about the network, not the network break, but the networking and the whole bunch of Q&A, because it's been different, to be open. See, that's based strictly on the 20 individuals in the class. We've had classes where folks decided to come in and be siloed, and they sit there, they get their instructions, ask 1 or 2 questions. At the end of 3 hours, everybody going home, and you do that 11 times, and it is what it is. You've had other classes where folks, based on instruction, was interested in what their other colleagues or peers were doing, had suggestions and ideas, wanted to cross-reference ideas based on what the speakers were sharing or based on an answer that another one of their colleagues gave, and then they became engaging. And then they began to realize that we always opened up early, so they had upfront networking to continue to talk about the things that they learned from the previous course, or to engage a little bit more with this person who at the end of the day, I don't see them as a competitor, but as a complement, and we might end up merging and doing something together. So this session format is the actual format. That's what we're going to be doing. But how much you get out of that is going to depend on you individually and collectively, the 20 individuals total who are in the group. So these are the days, guys and girls, we're looking at. July 9, 17, 23, August 6, 13, 20, 27, September 3, 10, 17, 24. And it looks like they're looking for a November 12th pitch competition and graduation. Once again, all sessions will be held on Wednesday from 5 to 8 in this building, but a different room. So see, this is the beginning of the commitment. You might say, what do I mean? Because I get it. We're government. We're already here. So we're going to stay here 5 to 8. Many, if not all of you, are working. So you got a day job. You need to consider that right now. This session starts at 5. You can't roll in at 5:50. So you have to decide, can you make this commitment? You know, can this work for you? I apologize in advance that the session isn't starting at 6, 7, or 8 o'clock, which means it will allow you to go home, check on the kids, get you a meal, and come in. It has to be this way in terms of this routine because it's also a part of the process for your initial commitment. And then it's 5 to 8. That's 3 hours. There is about 1 or 2 breaks within there. So it's not just 3 hours straight, look at the clock, look at your watch. And 3 hours goes pretty fast where you're engaging in conversation and dialogue. But it is the 3 hours. But we are saying you're not only committing to 3 hours. Now, this is a number I'm giving. Some of the course instructors are going to give a different number. I'm saying that based on what you're doing in the course each week, you need to carve out over the week and the weekend 5 more hours to put into the program, the plan, especially the business plan that you're creating. And I get to look at it this way because at the end of the day, you're not doing me no favor. You and I might be partners because we want more businesses and entrepreneurs in Broward. But you're not doing me a favor. But you are making a commitment to either your idea, your thought, or your dream. So that's why I don't want to waste your time. I want to give you the structure and all the information and support you need to fulfill what could be the launching of your dream or your vision. And that's what we're going to be attempting to do. Who should apply for Fast Track and New Venture? So this is what Kauffman would say. This is what my staff would say. This is some of the things that, as you read this, that even I've said. But who should really apply? The person who at some point had already had that dream, already had that thought, maybe has already written a white paper, may have already started doing some research, and may have already made a commitment that for the industry or the discipline, I know what I'm going after. Some of the steps to help me successfully get there, I don't quite know all of them. For me, that's the person who should apply. Should I apply and submit my application if I had that one dream 2 days ago and I think, oh my God, this is what I want to do? Nah, you shouldn't apply. Should I apply because my mom said, ooh wee, you bake the best cakes, you ought to be a baker? Well, your mama ain't gonna never have to pay for no cakes. So I'm not saying don't trust your mama. Keep baking cakes and give to your mama. But this ain't for you. You really want to apply, because again, it's gonna be a lot that we're pulling out of you. You really want to apply if you really given thought to an idea or a solution or a product. If you've already done some research beyond write a white paper on why you think it might be a good, if not a great idea. If you've already had this conversation and others outside of immediate family and friends said, oh wow, that's exciting. I didn't know you had that interest, or more importantly, I didn't know that that could be done or that could be made. Because when you submit your application, there's aspects of your application that is going to be asking you about, so what's your time spent with this idea? Are you transitioning out of what was a job and you do something so well and now you're going to add to that the potential entrepreneurship opportunity? The application is also going to want to dig in and simply say, tell me what kind of research you've done about this. So understand this. We're asking all these questions because, similar to what I said the last 2 minutes, we're trying to see what kind of candidates, what kind of applicants are considering coming into the program. Because we too believe iron sharpens iron. So if I got a good group, a strong group of individuals and entrepreneurs, it can do nothing but assist and help the other entrepreneurs in the room. Iron sharpens iron. So there are going to be some real questions that you don't have 5 pages of writing to do. You're going to have some questions asked of you and they're like, oh, 1,500 words or less. You know, get to the point, be concise, but make sure we understand what you're saying. And please understand, it won't be staff. I have outside professionals who are going to help us to read your applications, to help us pick the best applicants. So that's why I know one of the things that I'll be saying, and I'll say it at least 3 times a night, and tonight, right now is the first time. When you get the chance to go to the portal and submit the application, read the application first, all the way through. Don't start writing, please. Read the application. Pause. And whether it's that day or another day, don't wait 5 days, you're going to be late. That day or another day, maybe an hour or 2, read the application again. But now on this second read, start forming your thoughts. And whether you hard paper or quick notes, I recommend quick notes. And I'm so serious about this. Get to your third read and start filling in off of your quick notes. See, your first read is you just trying to validate the stuff I'm saying today and that you're reading. That's it. And what you're going to read on my website. The second read should be preparing you to ask yourself, not me, I won't be with you. Can I really do this? Am I really committed? Can I form these answers? And you're only doing the third read because after the second read, you're like, I'm down for this. Here I go. And I done took my notes. I say methodically do it in that manner because everything about the program is going to be just as structured. You don't go through 1 week and get to the next week and think ain't nobody going to bring up the last week. We need to make sure that you understood exactly that what you were doing, exactly that what you should have did as homework, and exactly that what you're bringing into week 2 that came out of week 1. And week 2 got to be just as foundation built, just as structured to go to week 3. So I'm trying to get you in a habit, even as simple as the application, to say, let me read this because I need to match what he said out of his mouth to what's on this website. Let me read this so I can start aligning who I am and what it is I think I want to do as a business to what they're actually asking me, because I'm in competition now. I'm going to have to submit this and I'm going to be compared to other folks. And as I take my quick notes, let me read this this third time because I'm ready to fill it in. Now, that's just me. You might be the brightest star. You can read this and fill it in all in 9 minutes on the first read, no harm, no foul. I'm just saying, prepare yourself for what would eventually be routine and structured activities and requirements of you for 11 weeks, 3 hours a week, every Wednesday, along with at least 5 hours outside of the course, still preparing and doing all your homework. Application scoring. That's why that's why it makes sense to be strategic about completing it. Strength and development of your business idea. Like I said, certain questions are going to give you only certain many words that you can use. Level of experience in the industry of your business idea. Remember, I said read it once because you're just trying to match what I said to what you're reading. Read it twice because you're really asking yourself right now, understanding that this is how the scoring is going to be. Does this sound like me? Can I make this fit like me? How concise can I be with giving a sound answer? And then your third one is actually doing it and filling in the boxes. The role your past work experience play, how well you know your target market, steps that you have taken towards your launch. All of those are different types of things that you're going to need to be able to tell us about your idea. And that's why I gave that idea, not being too sarcastic early on. You don't want to do this if you had your dream and this is one day after your dream, because we know you haven't had any time to put any thought into it. But you do want to do it. If you've had this dream, had this thought, had this idea, done a white paper, did a little research, bounced it off a couple of friends and others and strangers, and you now believe through concept, hey, if someone can help me organize, I can do this. If that's your scenario, then we're your program. Important dates, new venture application period. That's tomorrow. However, comma, you're here today. So now that number done double when I talked about 21. It's over 40 of you here now. But see, you're here today. So, and Daryl will scream at me if I'm mistaken, because you're here today, I'm going to move forward a few more slides, right? And you go see a QR code. The application period for reviewing and submitting your application begins tomorrow, Thursday, June 5th, right? That's what it says. But because you're here tonight, one of these slides that I'm going to get to is going to show you that QR code where you tonight can start looking at the application. So you got like a half night, half morning lead, whatever. I don't know. That's all. That's what Daryl was doing. That's Daryl in the back. He gave y'all a half lead. So the other folks tomorrow 8:30. You will have it tonight by 7 o'clock. Call it what you want to call it. The submission deadline, no matter when you read it, tonight or tomorrow, June 12th, 5 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not June 13th. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not June 12th, 5:40. It's 5 o'clock. We try to act like purchasing in that regard. That's 5 o'clock, we just shut it down. If you come in at 5:01, that's not it. So if you are going to be doing it, remember, this is technology. So by no means do you want to wait to June 12th at 4:40 to start your application. Anything can happen. So you do see June 12th, 5 p.m. We'll notify everyone before the 4th of July on Tuesday, July 1, of acceptance. Then the new venture is actually going to begin Wednesday, July 9th. So here's the funny thing about that. That's not so funny. You say, yeah. You accepted me around July 1 and you're going to begin on July 9th. How did I know? Because you already know now. The first session is going to be on a Wednesday. And all sessions are going to be on a Wednesday. And they're all going to be for 3 hours. But now you see the new venture begins Wednesday, July 9th. So if you're one of those that's accepted around July 1, 2, or 3, something like that, you already know July 9th. So as you submit your application, you should manifest whatever you so choose. You should act like you know you're going to get accepted. So don't wait till July 7th and 8th to try to coordinate, can I get away on July 9th? How about start that 2 hours after you submit your application? So I'm saying that because folks have come back and simply said, well, I wasn't ready for the first course because, you didn't call me until a week before on the acceptance. Yeah, but we told you in the orientation, which was 2 weeks earlier, if you accept it, what day we starting? See, so right now, I'm standing here on a Wednesday, June 4th, telling you that the first class is going to be July 9th. So if you think you're going to get accepted, start now making your arrangements, not just for July 9th, for each of those days every Wednesday. That's going to be key. How to apply? Oh, Daryl, is this it? No, you got another one. But anyway, how to apply. New Venture is a web-based application. This is going to be all your information as you're going through your courses each week. These are all of our contact information. Me, the director, Maribel, Daryl's in the back. Mark was here. He's the ED manager. Monique is our outreach manager. You can always get in touch with any of us asking us questions now throughout this process. Once you submit your application, don't bug me, bug Daryl. Call him every 10 minutes and say, hey, am I approved? Am I approved? Am I approved? You know, you can drive him crazy in that regard. FAQs. Do applicants need to be based in Broward County? Y'all want to do this as a Q&A, or y'all just want me to give you the answers? Okay, y'all not speaking. Do applicants need to be based in Broward County? Absolutely. I love my Palm Beach and I love my Miami friends. I love my Orlando, Central Florida. You need to be in Broward County. Is there a minimum age for participants? Absolutely. That age is 18 years of age. How do I know that my business concept is secure? If you have questions about your business concept, if one of you got such a great idea and it's so secretive, and you don't want no one to see your formula, there is an actual state statute and there's a procurement guide that we actually go by. So, even before you submit your application, or while your application is submitted being considered, email me or one of my staff, Mr. McDonald, I need to protect my idea beyond NDA, which is non-disclosure agreements. And I'll send you the link to the state statute that if anything is so private, and even though you're working with government, that you don't want it to be shared outside of this realm, all you would have to do is when you submit your application, you're going to email us that you submitted your application. You're going to list this statute that I'll give you, and it lets us know when we start reviewing yours, even when my reviewers, like I said, I got professional reviewers, they will also know this applicant is so confidential, has so much privacy, that they've given us the statute. That's the same thing that happens with government procurement. You don't always have to give all your stuff, because remember, government, I'm transparent. I'm supposed to share my stuff with anybody who asks, unless someone uses the statute that closes it. So now be careful about this, because this did happen about 3 sessions ago. I make this spiel each time. And then I have somebody who sends me the idea, and then they send that statute. Now, I'm not into patent law or nothing, but a few times I did have to call back and simply say, you must tell me what's secret about what you just said. Because at the end of the day, you know, I don't want to get you entangled in something that you don't want to be entangled in. But guys, if you really do have a step-up process that really still needs to be protected, I'll give you the statute. But if it's really just your mom's recipe on those butternut cookies, I mean, I'm just saying. What if I'm selected for the cohort but cannot attend all class sessions? I won't waste your time. Don't waste ours. It's not going to work. You need to count on 11. If somebody said, well, could I miss one? And remember, I said that in the beginning. See, staff is going to be nice to you. They say, well, you can miss one. I'm saying you want to do all 11. But technically, this isn't the cohort to miss 2 or 3 sessions. You will not get the value. You will not complete the business plan. And we would have potentially lost time. I only got 20 slots, and I could have had somebody who could have did all 20. We also know things happen. So that's where staff is right, where I'm wrong when I said I want all 11. And staff say, well, if they just need to miss one because of an emergency, they can, because we can still get you all the material, because things do happen. I'll just simply say, you need to make the commitment to you. And what we do know, missing 2, 3, 4 sessions, not going to work. So that would be the answer. What if I have a business partner? Yes, but you must tell us on the front end that you have a business partner. We can accommodate during each Wednesday session 2 of you. Now, you can't start rotating 3 and 4 business partners. But if it's you and a partner, you can sign up that way. And that way, seriously, even if you're tag teaming, you want to try to have some continuity. So I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do. But can you and your partner come because getting information combined between the two serves your business better? Absolutely. But guys, you can't come with a business partner on week 2 and 3, and then week 4 you got a different business partner, and then week 7 you got a different business partner, and then 9 and 10 you're trying to go back to the first one. That you can't do. But if you really do have a business partner and you want to share that alignment, you can share that with us and we can accommodate that. In advance, we can accommodate that. So, with that, before we go to additional questions, understand this. I say this part each year, and it's really repeating what I said earlier. And it's no disrespect, and that's why hopefully all of y'all played poker. Give me your poker face right now. Don't tell on yourself. So guys and girls, this isn't for everybody. I know a lot of people think it's for them, but it might not be for them. But you do have access to myself, Maribel, Durrell, and Mark, that if you want to get a one-on-one or a quick call in, you can do so. If you heard me say earlier, hey, what's that thing about those half-day workshops? Because, see, I'm really one of your 3 years or less businesses. I'm already started. I think I missed a couple of things. Maybe I just need that listening to your business workshop along with a consult. If you want to know more about that, call me. I'll tell you more about that. But if you want to commit to this, and this is how I'll close and we'll go into the additional questions. If you want to commit to this, that's the key word. It really is a commitment. There's a lot of entrepreneurship programs, which I'm excited about, that's happening in Broward. I have at least a few more communities, Hollywood and even Fort Lauderdale, do this same Kauffman. It's a lot of options, a lot of choices. Again, I'm not saying we're better than anyone else. I'm just simply saying we take this approach that we want to help businesses to not just start, but to be sustainable, successful businesses. So we do dive and dig a little deeper in working with you. But if you can make the commitment, 11 weeks, every Wednesday, 3 hours, homework outside of the actual course, and if you're more than me, serious about your idea, your business, your good material, service, or product, then I encourage you to challenge us, and you're going to have access to that website and that QR code, and begin your read, and if you're comfortable, do your application. But right now, before we get to that, we'll certainly entertain any questions, and because this is being recorded again, Maribel will come to you with the mic if you have any questions for us.
And before I give you the mic for the first question, wanted to share, staff is going to be emailing all of you the QR code that you need to have access to the application tonight. It was not on the slide.
So that means I don't have it on the screen.
It was supposed to be on the slide, but it was removed by mistake. So we'll make sure everyone here receive an email tonight with the information. Mark is going to make sure we send you that. So make sure that you checked in, because when you checked in, we captured everybody's email. And the second thing I wanted to mention is the only day that is not a Wednesday on the list of the classes is July 17th. And it's because we had a conflict internally with the room and the technical support that we received. So it's going to be July 17th is the only day that is a Thursday instead of a Wednesday. So just wanted to clarify that. And we can go now to the first question.
Thank you. Hi. My question is, are there certain types of businesses that are more successful or that you think would be better for the program? My business is a product-based business, and so I'm just wondering, I know there are products and services, but what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, so professionally, I really don't have any thoughts on that. Kauffman is designed for the wide gamut, even including, in case somebody asks a question later, nonprofits. Kauffman is focusing on the areas of concentration that any business is going to need to be aware of towards their success. So whether you really are a good material, service, or product, even if you were a nonprofit, the value add for what Kauffman is sharing, every business needs. So the last part that you said is kind of unique and cute. I heard you when you said that's going to be most successful. The businesses through Kauffman that are going to be the most successful are the Kauffman participants that put the most in to the potential success. I kid you not. Some of the best ideas go nowhere because the participant isn't as engaging. And some of the ideas that probably could have been suspect in the beginning ends up being the best, and I mean like 4 years later, because you're registered with Broward, you're a real business in Broward, you're paying taxes, you're hiring people, and like, oh my God, how did that happen? Because the person was truly engaged in learning. So this is really one of those kind of courses. This is going to be, and that's why I'm talking about the business plan as well. That end towards the launch is going to be whatever the candidate puts into it. Kid you not.
Thank you. My question is there an option to tune in virtually for this, or you have to be in person?
You have to be in person.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Yep.
What percentage of businesses participate in the program that are still active after year one?
You know what? We're running that number right now, but I'm going to give you the soft side of 7 out of 10. But I'm even going to reduce that. I'm going to give you 7 out of 10 of businesses who ended up establishing and got going. I'm going to drop that, though, to 5 out of 10 who got probably past their 4th year. Because even though you're going through Kauffman, we're caught up in that entire cyclone of entrepreneurship and startup businesses. And sometimes beyond even the great idea. It's access to capital. It's resources. It's the additional supports, which is why we got a good, strong support team. It's called ARROW, Alliance of Entrepreneur Resource Organization. It's about 20 of us who work with aspiring entrepreneurs, startups, small businesses, and businesses looking to scale. So we have supports, but again, it also then goes back to the intentional versus the accidental. The supports are here, but life is lifing, so the business is really being accidental, so they really can't get access to all the supports. So though we're excited about who graduates, who gets me to that 2, 3, and 4 year, that hold on is really about, are all the resources available? Is the commitment still the same? Because in one of my half-day workshops, we teach you about the different cycles of business. And I have folks who swear, Mr. McDonald, I'm at the mature stage, and they're still at concept. Or I'm at early growth, and they're at growth. You really have to understand post-graduation of a program like this, post-launch, where you really are, and you got to dive in and deal with that until you come out of that. We're so excited about getting started. I'm 2 years in, I just want to make myself think I'm a mature business. I'm not. I'm still concept or early stage, and I need to complete all of these before I ever get to the next. So our numbers are good, and that's what I want to be honest about those who graduate, those who start. I see their name in SunBiz, which is where you got to register all your businesses in the state of Florida, and then I can see that you're in my county. You done paid a city business license tax receipt, a county business license tax receipt. I'm excited, but I got to see if you get to that 3rd year and that 4th year. And then if you do or if you don't, what was that Achilles that pulled you back? You know, but we got good numbers for the start, but it's really about the sustaining. And I'm about 50-50.
My question is, what if you are still working on your idea and you have not yet officially registered your LLC, or if you are just above 3 years limit?
So you can make a business decision. Remember, because your application is going to ask you questions about your idea, where you are with your idea, to try to get a measuring about launching. But you can also be honest with yourself. You know what, I got my idea, I got my concept, I haven't done an LLC yet, not sure if I'm going to do an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, or whatever. Maybe I want to have that conversation with Mr. McDonald about intentional entrepreneur. Where am I really in my start? You know, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be this course. It could be based on how far you are with your idea, and you haven't made that decision on this S Corp, C Corp, LLC, or whatever. That next decision helps to decide what your next steps are for your idea, and that's not about this program. It could be about this program, but that's why I would simply say for someone like you, if that question is coming from you, read the entire application, because the entire application is helping us to know you based on where you say you are. And now you know you're going to be in competition with others in that same realm. You might read the application and say, based on the questions they're asking and for what they're trying to pull out of me, I'm not there yet. So maybe I'll just go talk to them about the consult, the one-on-one, and maybe I'll go take a peek at that intentional entrepreneur program to see the difference between accidental and intentional and find out where I am. We don't like telling people where they are. I don't. I'm never going to tell nobody where they are. But we do want to push you to really do an assessment with yourself to make a determination of where you are. That's one of the things about the 2 half-day workshops. I got this one portion that we call Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, but in fairness, I say man or woman in the mirror, because all of the questions in the surveys that I take them through, I don't ask them to show me nothing. You're writing it for yourself. But then I ask them to do it twice. Do it in the course with me, but then go home and 2 days later, in the mirror, do it again. Because it's the honest answers that's going to tell you where you are with your business. What's your next steps to take? Do I do an 11-week course or do I do a half day? Do I recommit to the half day based on the things I just did in the survey? That's the upside to the half day workshops. We can help you decipher where you think you are, but I'll still never tell you, yep, you should do this or you should do that. I'll just make sure you got the information where you can tell you if you should or if you shouldn't.
Can you talk a little bit more about the actual curriculum that's in the program?
Yeah, so let me do this. So, exploring entrepreneurship, identifying meeting marketing needs, setting financial goals, planning and productive services, researching and analyzing markets, reaching the market, building the organization and team, planning for a profitable business, monitoring cash flow, seeking funds, implementing next steps. Concept to a business plan. That's your curriculum. But there's more devil in the details. See, I can do that in about 45 minutes. You got a 3-hour course because each of these have spin-offs. That as a business, that's why we'll take businesses 3 years or younger. Or as an entrepreneur getting ready to do this for the first time and knew nothing but a concept, or they watched Shark Tank 5 times. We're gonna make sure you understand the intricacies of each of these areas. And that's why I keep saying it's a 3-hour course, but guys, it's really about the homework. These 10 bullets are just that, they're 10 bullets. They're substantive bullets. There's something every single business needs to be able to say within their performer, within their narrative. I'm aware of these, and then I can speak to how those align with my business. But it's those other parts in each one of these sessions that leads you to decide, am I at this point? Do I have this information? If I don't, what's my actual next steps? What do I need to bring back before the next class when I return to the next class? But these are what we classify as the 10 major areas, what Kauffman classifies, that towards a business launch, these are your familiarities. Does a business or entrepreneur need to know more than this? Absolutely. But that's where the connected dots are going to come in. Based on where you are, with your concept, with your idea, with what we're sharing, do you have enough to complete your business plan? And if so, would you like to consider your business plan as a part of the pitch? And if so, if you believe your next step is launch, then it's launch. Some might believe, oops, my next step isn't launch, it might be beta testing. But post-beta testing, it's launch. Oop, mine might be creating within that business plan because I decided to go with a solid product and I was going to have to access the capital. I might have to put together a pro forma based on my financials to go with that workshop, the session that talked about it. But now with that, I'm comfortable. Some might decide that all of this works for me except for that target market. Now going through the course, I originally thought the target market was X. I now know my best target market might be Y, so I'm going to have to change that up. It doesn't mean I'm not ready to launch. It means I'm going to have to shift those pieces that I thought for target market X to make it Y. So this is the curriculum. And the other part about this, as I mentioned earlier, this is the book side of the curriculum. That's why I bring in an expert in each one of these areas. To even politely say, Sandy crazy on this part. Him and Kauffman only believe them 70%. Let me tell you the other 30. We want to make sure you also can hear from the industry experts. because that's the massage, or that's the way of correlating what it is that you're going to need for you actually to go out there. And the other part about these industry experts, as well as your colleagues in the course, we've come to find out that folks post the course has continued to lean on each other. They've actually created a network, and they're actually working with each other. And each of our industry experts has given of themselves. We don't pay them nothing. And they continuously work with the students actually in the course after, if that's the student's choice. Yes, ma'am. We'll wait for this so we can.
How many cohorts a year?
1. We're going to try to get our clock at some point till we do 2, but I'm already at the summer, so this is going to be 1. So definitely 2025, 1 cohort.
Hi. So I do understand that there is a time commitment. 11 weeks, 3 hours, so that's 33 total hours. My question is there a financial commitment to this?
Unless you got to pay for a babysitter. Guys, our entire office, Office of Economic Small Business Development, on behalf of those commissioners on that second slide, we call this prepaid. You guys paid your taxes, that's our office. The county has decided to fund this program. We do pay. You got to be a member to get in Kauffman to pay, so the county does pay. But in fair exchange, no robbery, no, we want to just offer the services to our residents.
A question, sir, about the criteria. I filed a DBA in 2021, but then I just entered a couple of years of intense training before I really started taking clients in 2023. So because I filed with the state 4 years ago, does that mean I'm not qualified?
So you're going to want to ask yourself that question real slow when you do your application. Because for your application, and I'll do it the right way, we're going to take the information that you give me. So if someone, just being open and honest, guys, if someone say, I'm business X, and you give me a business name, and you write down a business year, no different than my small business program, I go to SunBiz. So if SunBiz says 2021, it's 2021.
Okay.
Whether you didn't start to 23 or 24, it's 2021. If
Okay.
you did corrective action and you got other paperwork that minus 2021, the activity didn't take place, I got my business license tax receipts in 2024, things of that nature, that then explains that it does become 3 years or less, you can explain that away. But at the end of the day, if it's bare, hey, I'm company X, and I establish myself Y, when we look at SunBiz, that's all we know, unless you tell me something different.
Okay, thank you.
I think you mentioned, I'm sorry, I think you mentioned a word, 1,500 kind of stuck out. So is there a limit word count?
In some of the questions, there is. Some of the questions, we want you to get to the point. Some of the questions, even for my reviewers, we don't want to have 5 pages to be reading. But the other part is sometimes, and that's the 1,500 or less on this one question in my head, we ask that because if you can't be concise about your idea, then I can't be concise about understanding and determining if you're the best candidate. So at the end of the day, it's not trickery. It's just the idea that some of these, it needs to be wordy, because we got to figure this out. Other of these, it needs to be right here, because you know your idea better than I, or you know the substance of your idea better than I. So yeah. So I got 2 right here, remember? Oh, God.
Hello, Sandy.
Hey,
nice
sir.
seeing you again.
How are you?
Good. Excited to be here. I had a question about parking. When we start the program, are we gonna have to pay for parking, or is it
Parking
gonna be
is
the same
free.
building? Woohoo.
Darryl and Maribel will give you all the details, but you end up parking in the county's parking garage. You end up getting a ticket, not a ticket, a parking ticket for validation. So yeah, parking will be free. Good question, and that goes to this gentleman who's talking about, is there any financial commitment? Nope, not even gonna make you pay for parking. We'll take care of the parking. Yes, sir.
So I saw in the presentation in November there's going to be a pitch competition.
Yes.
2-part question. Who judges the pitch competition, and what are the prizes?
Oh, so the prizes is $10,000, $7,500, and $5,000 worth of access to services, first, second, and third. The judges, I don't know if I picked them yet, but normally I go with my different community partners. I got bankers, I got economic development officers, I got successful entrepreneurs, I got folks who are part of our community partnership like Arrow. I normally just grab 3 or 4 of them and simply say, hey, come join me. No, actually I just only grab 3, right? I normally grab 3. So we'll be selecting those folks down the road. No need of me telling you who they are now. I don't want you to take them to lunch tomorrow and try to hook it up.
So Sandy, related to the check, can you tell him about, do they just get a check and they can spend it
No,
or anything they want, or can you
and that's
speak
what I
about
just said,
that?
it's operating services, so hear me. So $10,000, you don't get a $10,000 check. I'm government, so they're gonna make me dot my I's, cross my T's, and state want to doge me and all that other stuff. But I do need you to have access to $10,000 for real. So as an entrepreneur, as an aspiring entrepreneur, if you are that business, any eligible service, and I mean any eligible service that helps your business, that's how we want to spend the $10,000. You got this marketing idea, you want to use this group, boom, let's do $10,000. I got this software I want to buy, Mr. McDonald, this is going to help me on my invoicing side, let's buy this software. Or Mr. McDonald, I got this engagement based on this event that we're going to be doing, I'm going to be able to launch my actual activity, and it's a $2,500 entry fee in order to do that. That's it. But there's actually a list, so you don't have to guess. There's a list of all the eligible uses for the 10,000. And again, we try like elasticity in economics. We try to stretch it. I mean, there's going to be some things that even you won't imagine. Now, you can't go get no Chick-fil-A. That's not it. But shorter than that, anything that helps to launch, start, expand, support, develop your business or idea, or takes care of daily operations, all of that's eligible. Because again, so many different individuals, businesses, products, goods, and services. And since from an auditor's perspective, we got to be accountable for it, we just simply said, let's just open up the door. $10,000, $7,500, $5,000 for all eligible expenses that goes towards the business. So see, you can't send me an invoice for something you just did for your college friend or for your auntie in New Jersey. It's going to have to be about you and the business. Because remember, if you win the 10, 75, or 5, I just tracked your entire business or your entrepreneurship to launch your business. And if you're going to end up using the money for anything relevant to the business, another example, it can't be a brand new name. I just worked with you for 11 weeks. And it was Thompson Products. So now all of a sudden you won the first prize and you say, but can you make the check out to Johnson's Products? Can't do it. So we're going to be real clear. There's absolutely no games. You will know in advance. You're going to be given time to spend the money. You can always come back and ask and say, hey, I read this, but I didn't read that. We need you, not want. See, we need you to be successful. So even on the award of the money, we want to make sure that you're crystal clear how it can be used. And yes, we want to make sure we can get that dollar value to you as soon as possible. So once we know who you are and once we know who you win, you're going to be starting working with Daryl and my team. We're going to get all of the financial accounting stuff out of the way of the county. We're going to get you to ink your agreement for your 10, 75, or 5, and then let's get started. Yes, sir. Down here, Maribel, and then the young lady again.
Hi, I'm 16 years old, and I was wondering if I could be business partners with my dad.
So, I get to say this slowly. See, you said you're 16. You have to be 18 to be in the program. So, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, it starts at 18. If you and your dad already had a business, and your dad was the lead, and it was written in SunBiz, see, then you're good to go, because you're partners. But without me telling you, as you read the application, the applicant has to be 18 and up. And again, so without me telling you, because you got to read the application for a program where the age is 18 for a viable idea to be considered, and you and your dad on your own is at home trying to start a business for a program, who needs to be the applicant?
My dad.
Ta-da. Right behind you, Mary.
Just one question. Do we have to pay taxes on the winning prize?
Ah, great question. What did the auditor tell us last year on that?
We just did it for a grant.
We did. You know, so
Yes, so it depends on the type of business. We'll give you the official response, but it depends on the type of business and the dollar amount.
Wait on the
But we
official
do
response.
issue tax documents depending on the type of business and the dollar amount.
Yeah, because there's also a document we can give you that's approved by the county's accounting that can probably help you with that. Because everybody knows we're not getting ready to play tax man up in here. You receive revenue, it's taxable. Folks, this is revenue. Different than a grant, this is revenue. However, I think there's going to be something that we'll be able to share. But we'll give everybody an official answer. Yeah, we're going to have to put that on the website too, Mary.
Hi, Mr. Sandy. Good
Hey
to
there.
see you again. I got a question. Do you keep a track of what we spend? Like, do the county keep a track of what we spend if we do win first place?
Oh, yeah, we do. We track it. We're tracking it for a lot of reasons, going back to the other gentleman's question. We also want to know the success. We want to know what those primary uses are. We want to compare those uses of this person who won $10,000 this year to the last 3 people who won $10,000. What's some of the primary focus? Because we also want to try to find a way to better and strengthen the program. And the best way to do it is to take some of our graduates, take some of our winners, find out what the primary support services are, what are folks needing more, so that in case there's ever a good day, when the county decides to throw more money, we know exactly where you want to put those monies. But at the end of the day, we also track it for accountability, because we have to approve what those spendings would be and those reimbursements would be.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
so we do track it. So you can't buy a car and go to Jamaica on me. You just throw that out there.
Thank you. Just to clarify, for the winners, the services that they choose to spend the award on, are those specifically in a list of Broward-approved vendor services, or can we,
So not so much Broward-approved services,
Okay.
absolutely. You don't have to use my vendors.
Okay.
Would I love you to use my vendors? Absolutely. But nope, that's not a criteria that you use my vendors. Nope. See, now the class of 2026 is going to be mad because I'm going to make them use my vendors. So y'all good to go.
Good evening. I wanted to ask, let's just say that, everyone can't win, but there's 3 winners. The rest of the class, will we be receiving like resources to help us continue in our business journey?
Absolutely. So again, and that's what we're going to talk about that early on. So don't take my resources and drop out. But there'll be more information about Arrow. See, what folks, do I got a slide with Arrow? Oh, boom. Hey, oh, y'all sharp. Look at y'all. See, you might leave here tonight and say, oh, let me just go to that website. Oh, I didn't know that. All of these are groups and organizations that do something for my aspiring entrepreneurs, my startup businesses, my small businesses, and my businesses looking to scale. So we keep them engaged specifically with our Kauffman. And some of these no different than my program. Also are services that don't cost money. Some do, but many don't. So the ideal is that, and that's why, and good question, that's why I mentioned earlier, you can successfully complete my course and be ready with your business plan. Great. But you also might realize through the course, I got 1 or 2 more steps. And those steps might not be with me. It might be with one of my Arrow partners. So that's why we want to make sure, and that's my thing earlier about the sustainable startups. It has to be more than just us. There has to be more than just what the government has to offer that can support a small business or an entrepreneur, and not just starting, being sustainable. And that's why I mentioned nonprofits. One of the best organizations in the country, Jim Moran Institute for Global Entrepreneurship, is the best organization if somebody was a nonprofit, and some for-profits, but a nonprofit, whoever was thinking about, how do I put my board of directors together? They have a program with a certificate that teaches you exactly how to put board of directors together. So the ideal is that we will often include and make mention of Aero members, and make sure that you have access other than southfloridabiz.org if down the road you need additional assistance. That's an automatic. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. So let's be clear about two things, because staff done had me sitting up here lying. I'll deal with them tomorrow. You will be emailed.
We didn't lie. You already got emailed. You already got emailed the QR code. You see how we fixed it so quickly?
Yeah, still a lie.
So everybody got the QR code
So
already. Check your
supposedly,
emails.
You already got an email with a QR code. I don't know if you can check it. Don't trust it.
We also have a photo of the QR code on the table outside. So if you didn't get the email, you can just scan the QR code outside on your way out.
So you have access to that. Read it. Take your time, but don't take forever, because we also showed you when the applications are due. Okay, but that's the small business micro grant. If you are a business in Broward, that's a $2,500 micro grant. You can go to our website and complete that application if you're looking for $2,500. Ways to stay connected with us. Which one? You want to do them a favor and mail them this PowerPoint? Yeah. Because they'll drive you crazy trying to get all of these little codes. So the last part was, I was mentioning the application. You need to make your commitment. But before you fill out the application, make sure you can fulfill your commitment. That's going to be the biggest piece. And then I wish you all the best when it comes to submitting your application for consideration, when our reviewers will take a look at them starting after that date of the 12th. Remember, so applications are due June 12th at 5 p.m. or better. If not, and this is a good room, so I appreciate that. If not, thank you all for participating. Thank you all for your interest, seriously. Thank you for your interest. And one way or the other, if everyone in here submit your application, and I'm only going to take 20 anyway, you still have access to me in my office and the other workshops and all the information, whether you get in the program or not. Our office is still here year-round. This is just one cohort of us working specifically for the Kauffman NewVenture Fast Track launch program. So thank you all. Have a good evening.